Hello there and welcome to African News 24 Television. Here we bring you the latest news and reports in politics, business, sports and entertainment. I'm Timothy Crown, Adiribi. We begin this hour in Katsina State, where the state government has been defending the decision to facilitate the release of 70 suspected bandits. The State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Nasir Muazu, during an interview, described the effort as essential to consolidate the state government's community-driven peace agreement with repentant bandits in several local government areas. The commissioner is speaking after the leak of a document where the state government had written to the chief judge requesting the intervention of the administration of Criminal Justice Monitoring Committee on the release of the suspect in custody. The document was said the document was said to have cited section 371 subsection 2 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Law of Katsina State 2021 and described the action as one of the conditions for sustaining peace accords signed between frontline local government areas and armed groups. He noted that while some suspects had been arraigned at the Federal High Court, others remain in detention awaiting trial at the Magistrate Court, with an additional list of about 22 inmates facing High Court proceedings also submitted for consideration. The government's request has sparked outrage among legal practitioners, civil society organizations, and the public, with argument that releasing suspects accused of serious crimes risk undermining the rule of law, denying justice to victims, and potentially emboldening criminal networks. The commissioner said the initiative has led to the release of nearly 1,000 abducted persons across multiple local government areas already. Still in security, there are reports of an attack on a soldier by suspected armed headers. The assailants, according to eyewitness, killed a soldier and an officer of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps at Udeku community in the Toran district of Kwande local government area of Benue State. A community leader from the troubled area, Lawrence Akerigba, said the attack had forced scores of residents to flee the community. Akerigba added that all economic and social activities in the area had been grounded as a result of the attack. The deceased security personnel were among officers deployed to the area to help maintain peace amid incessant attacks by suspected armed headers in the local government area. The slain officers were reportedly returning from Aga Market, where they had gone on a motorcycle to refuel their cooking gas. Further sources disclosed that youth in the area quickly mobilized, combed the forest, and recovered the charred bodies of the deceased officers, which were taken to the mortuary at Jato Aka. Meanwhile, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has criticized the arrest and detention of government critic Abubakar Musa, urging President Bola Tinubu's administration to release him immediately and stop suppressing opposing views. Atiku's comment followed a report by Amnesty International Nigeria, which revealed details of Musa's arrest. He described the action as another sign that the government is intolerant of criticism. According to Atiku, Musa was arrested simply for speaking out about a worsening security situation in northern Nigeria and the country at large. He said instead of addressing these concerns, the government chose to detain him on what Amnesty called false charges. Atiku warned that such arrests threaten democracy and freedom of expression. He added that many Nigerians, including journalists and young people, have faced harassment for criticizing the government. He called on the Tinubu administration to free Musa and others detained for expressing their views, end intimidation of critics, and respect citizens' rights. He also urged the international community and civil society groups to speak out against these actions. Meanwhile, the Kano state government has announced plans to train 50,000 youths across the state in 2026 as part of effort to tackle unemployment and promote economic self-reliance. Governor Abba Yusuf made the disclosure during the distribution of empowerment packages to over 2,200 graduates of entrepreneurship and skills institutes at the government house in Kano. The governor said the program is designed to equip young people with practical and market-ready skills, enabling them to earn a living and contribute meaningfully to the state's economy. He described youth employment as a central focus of his administration's development agenda. Yusuf added that the initiative forms part of a broader strategy to address poverty, unemployment, and youth restiveness, assuring that the state government will continue to invest in skills acquisition as a long-term solution. The planned training will also complement ongoing empowerment programs in the state. Earlier, the Kano State Information Technology Development Agency announced a partnership with a non-governmental organization to empower 1.5 billion youths with digital skills between 2025 and 2027, with 150 youths already engaged under a pilot phase. In other news, renowned writer Chimamanda has served Euracare Hospital in Lagos with a legal notice alleging that medical negligence and professional impropriety led to the death of her 21-month-old son, Kano Nnamdi. Kano, one of Adichie's twin sons, died on January 7, 2026, following complications during a series of preparatory medical procedures. The legal notice dated January 10th argued that the attending anesthesiologist and another medical personnel at Euracare breached their duty of care. According to the filing, the child had been transferred to Euracare from Atlantis Pediatric Hospital on January 6th for critical procedures excuse me, ahead of an emergency medical evacuation. The procedures included an echocardiogram, a brain MRI, a peripherally inserted central catheter, and a lumbar puncture. Intravenous sedation was said to have been administered using propofol. It added that a specialist team at Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, United States, was on standby to receive him. The legal document stated that during transport from the MRI suite to the cardiac catheterization laboratory, while under sedation, the child suffered sudden and severe complications, which culminated in his death. But Euracare Multi-Specialist Hospital has denied allegations of negligence, which they describe as inaccurate. And still on a sad note, the Akran of Badagry in Lagos State, Aholu Menu Toyi I, has died. A top source confirmed the news of his death to us today with sketchy details about the demise of the first-class traditional ruler. The Akran Palace is expected to release a statement on the development soon. Welcome to business. Oil prices fell slightly today after Iran said it had brought recent violence under control. Investors were also watching plans to restart oil exports from Venezuela. Brent crude dropped to about $63.25 per barrel, while U.S. oil fell to around $59.02 per barrel. Prices had risen strongly last week due to unrest in Iran. Iran's foreign minister said the situation is now under control even after deadly weekend clashes. A human rights group reported that over 500 people have died during the unrest. And on the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump said that Iran's leadership had called him seeking to negotiate after he repeatedly threatened to intervene militarily if Tehran killed protesters. For 2 weeks, Iran had been rocked by a protest movement that had swelled in spite of a crackdown. Right groups warn has become a massacre. Initially sparked by anger over the rising cost of living, the demonstrations have evolved into a serious challenge to the theocratic system in place since the 1979 revolution. As reports emerge of a growing protest death toll and images show bodies piled outside a morgue, Trump said Tehran indicated his willingness to talk. He added, however, that he may have to act before a meeting. The U.S.-based Center for Human Rights in Iran said it had received eyewitness accounts and credible reports indicating that hundreds of protesters had been killed across Iran during the current internet shutdown. Information has continued to trickle out of Iran despite a day-long internet shutdown, with videos filtering out of capital Tehran and other cities under the past 3 nights showing large demonstrations. Welcome to sports. Barcelona have successfully defended the Spanish Super Cup after an exciting 3-1 El Clasico victory over Real Madrid in Saudi Arabia on Sunday. Rafinha scored twice, while Robert Lewandowski added another as Barcelona claimed a record-extending 16th Super Cup title. Despite Frenkie de Jong being sent off late for a foul on Kylian Mbappe, Barcelona held on for the win. Mbappe, recovering from a knee sprain, only came on the closing stages. The loss is expected to renew pressure on Real Madrid coach Xabi Alonso. Barcelona took the lead through Rafinha before Vinicius Jr. equalized with a brilliant solo goal, setting up a fast-paced end to the first half in Jeddah. Lewandowski then chipped the goalkeeper to restore Barcelona's lead, but Gonzalo Garcia scored deep into stoppage time to ensure both teams went into the break level.
Able to do it. Just look at the
And in entertainment, the Funshebua ruling house of Ijebuland has lashed out at popular Fuji musician Wasiu Ayinde, also called Kwamwan, over his protest letter to Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun, in which he alleged that he was being deliberately excluded from the ongoing selection process of the next Awujale of Ijebuland. In his protest letter dated January the 8th, 2026, written by his lawyer, Dr. Wahab Shitu, Kwamwan explained that the Fushebua ruling house, next in line to produce a new Awujale, had issued directives that were unknown to the chieftaincy declaration and the Obas and Chiefs laws of Ogun State. He claimed these directives were aimed at disenfranchising him from contesting for the throne, but responding to the development, the vice chairman of the Fushebua ruling house, Professor Fasi Yusuf, dismissed the protest letter as arrant nonsense with no bearing on the selection process. The selection process for the new Awujale, which has reportedly attracted over 60 aspirants, has generated widespread interest, with Ayinde openly declaring his interest in this tool. The Fushebua family, however, asserted that the Fuji musician is not a member of the ruling house and therefore does not qualify to participate in the process. Ayinde had approached the Ogun State High Court sitting in Jebode seeking an interim injunction restraining the governor and 6 others from proceeding with the selection process. The court declined the application, ruling that it lacked merit. The suit was subsequently withdrawn by Ayinde through his lawyer, although no reason was given. The ruling house also suspended the nomination process and restarted it afresh after intervention by the state government. And that will be it for now. Please follow us for more on these stories and others, and stay connected with us on all our social media platforms. And don't forget to visit our website at africanews24.ng for the update of these stories to stay informed and ahead. I'm Timothy Crown Aderibe. See you at 6 o'clock.